Yeah.
Well, dude, you still use the VX? Is that only thing you use?
VX, and I use a Bolex. I shoot a lot of 16 millimeter. But I started doing the HD stuff. I have like an HVX and a 5D, and I was doing that stuff for jobs, which I was doing like before TOA actually started going. You know, I was working a lot of just like whoever would hire me. I was, you know, desperate. I was working at a restaurant and just working all kinds of random jobs. And it all had to be HD at that point. I think I actually got hired by Red Bull to shoot Tampa Am. And it was, they're like, you have it has to be HD. I'm like, yeah, of course. Okay. What else? You know, and they're like, all right. And you have to, it was like 3 days before, literally, I'm not kidding. They hired me like 3 days before. You got to fly, they fly down to Tampa, hung up with her, and just went on eBay looking for HVXs. Like, what the
Oh, no. Shit.
Most of the stuff that I'm doing, I think it would be fine if there was like, if we do a full hops video piece all on HD.
Sure.
But it's just like, I'm just gonna keep using the VX.
You love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it looks great, and sometimes I'm like, oh God, I wish this was an HD.
Yeah.
It depends who's like with him, with Josh using it. Like, you know how to use the camera. So there's a lot of newer kids using it now. They don't know how to use it, and it looks all blown out.
Facts.
And it's just not as fun to watch.
The thing is, though, is for the VX, especially night skating, it's a little more. In my opinion, it's a little more work. You know, like it's not very light sensitive. You have to have the right light, and everybody's gotten lazy, including myself, with just bringing the little LED lights out with you, which realistically they look like shit, in my opinion. You know, like people, they're like the Japanese filmers. I think started using 2 LED lights. You know, they do one on camera, one handheld, and they do it well.
Oh,
and
wow.
Everybody started copying that. I've had to do it recently because long story, but I've been having light problems with my usual light. And I need one of my hands to know, you know, like, cause I know I'm going to eat shit at least one try out of, you know, and I want to, so to have your hands all full doing that. And then you always see the light come into the shot. So
that's how they do it.
Put it on your head.
I always tripped out how good
Really?
the VX footage was in Japan. I didn't realize they had the extra hand that they were using.
Now, what is that? Why do they is LED light not powerful enough that they need 2, or is it just the way that they're angling
it's not as
it?
full. There's something about it where it's not as full. I mean, I'm like, it's funny because I've, you know, my whole 30 years of filming and doing, you know, for work, and you know, I'm the least technically knowledgeable. You know, people like kids DM me like, hey, do you know, like asking me like model numbers of things, if you're going to use this verse, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about. Basically, I'll learn something by trial and error.
Sure.
And then but something about, like, I use this it's called a best core. It's like this old light with barn doors, and it's just there's something so crisp about the light, and it's like it's got a nice diffuser, and it fills a wide space, but with a bright, crisp light. And the LEDs, there's bright LEDs, but for some reason they just don't fill the space properly. And so that's why having a second light helps. You know, you can just tell for some reason when you just have one LED. I can tell, and I think most people, they don't know why it doesn't look as good. But night footage does not look, in my opinion, right unless you have like a good light, you know.
Right.
And I think filming standards have really gone down a lot, it being the fact that like everybody's a filmer, everybody's a video maker and an editor on their phone.
Sure.
And so people I've found myself like I never would have done a lot of the stuff. I never would have just used one LED light like 5 years ago. And like when I was working on Static 4, I had to film like Aaron Harrington that had a battery problem. That's the problem, is all this technology is ancient and terrible and degrading, and there's nobody who fixes any of it anymore. And it's like, but I filmed a few tricks of Aaron Harrington right near the end with that LED light, and it bums me out every time I see the clips. You know what I mean? Because it's noticeable. It's like a sore thumb. And now I'm doing it all the time just because it's like,
it's easy.
New York City, you have this heavy shit, and I'm having all these problems with my old battery pack, and I got the Bolex in my bag too, and it's just like, fuck.
Why not change? You can't. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, but the standard has gone down, in my opinion. Filming quality has gone down to where it's just like, it doesn't matter as much anymore. I'm like, well, I'll let myself,
I'll let myself go a little bit.
Basically.
But why not fix that light, or can you buy those lights anymore? Are those lights not available?
Dude,
hard to find.
Everything is this. It's like basically trying to say, like somebody who insists on only listening to 8-track. It's like, dude, like, like, why don't you? It's like, well, there's no such thing as it. Nobody's made 8-track players for 45 years. So,
right.
like my best core light. Long story short, you have to wear these battery packs that are a nightmare. And I've had like 1,000 different versions of them. And for some reason, you'll charge it overnight, like all night long. Go out, I start filming. It's always like something like Jamal, like getting a clip with Jamal to me is extra special. And he's doing something really hard. And I'm like, oh, I'm so hyped. Turn it on. And within 3 tries, I start noticing the light dimming already.
Oh.
Like there's just something about this technology. The charger just like 1 out of every 3 charges, it doesn't properly charge. And then my chargers, I had 2 chargers. They stopped working. I ordered them from B&H and nobody makes them anymore. And it's like, I ordered it and it said, delivering in 6 to 8 weeks. That was literally 6 months ago. I never got them.
Never got them.
So, no. So it's just like same thing, like the cameras, it's like there was the guy Carrie, everybody knows this guy Carrie. And I think he's in Connecticut, who fixed everybody's cameras, and he's still doing it, but he's overwhelmed and kind of over it. And then there was the guy, George, or down in Texas, who was fixing cameras. And it's just like, the bubble's going to burst. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's like getting to that point.
Right. Man.
And I just can't imagine carrying that. Like I filmed I went on that Amazon trip for Skateboarder Mag.
Oh, back in the with Kenny Anderson and everything?
Yeah. And Kenny was working on the chocolate video, I think.
Okay.
And so Mesa sent his HD depth lens for me to use because I have the HVX, and I used it twice. And both times, the first time I was filming Sabac, and it's just like it's so, the weight is so different, and I'm so hyper, like, oh my God, if I fall on this lens, it's Aaron's,
it's like Mesa's a $2,000 lens. Like
3,000. They're 2,600 new back then. Now they're probably more valuable.
Wow.
But I ate shit and like really, really got hurt filming Jack, but I didn't hurt the lens. Then I didn't use it the whole rest of the trip. And then I landed in Miami and I filmed one trick of Ben Gore on it. And he did a trick over a handrail and started bombing a hill, and I hit a crack and scorpion and broke my collarbone with that lens. And I hit the edge of the lens. I didn't hit the glass, but I didn't, and I wasn't even filming Kenny, and I scratched the outside of Maze's lens.
Did you tell him, or did you just send it back and be like, thanks, buddy? That would be amazing. Right? What do you mean? It must have been in shipping. I don't know.
He's not going to watch this episode anyway. So but it was like, you could see the scratch in the outside. So I'm pretty sure I had to tell him.
So it was on the glass, or it was on the
it was on the metal,
frame.
on the edge, on the frame.
Okay, so it didn't affect anything. Yeah. It was cosmetic.
No, it was cosmetic.
Right.
But I did break my collarbone. Dude, so I was just like, I'm just not going to deal with
those falls that filmers take to protect the camera, man. They are brutal, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing though. You did that.
Just switch to a little GoPro, dude. You'll be fine.
Dude, some of the stuff people film with, there's that guy Calvin Miller in Texas. Do you ever watch his Instagram channel?
No.
He's like, I think he's like a DP or something. He's like works out of skateboarding. Like he probably knows actually what he's doing, but he uses that fucking one of these every company has these weird cameras. He has that 360 camera where it can film, and he films on it. It's like on a wand or some sort, and everything. If you watch his Instagram, it's so entertaining. He films with it incredibly well, and like films all the local, I think it's San Antonio guys. And it just, like I'll see that and I'm like, I think that camera's expensive, but it's seriously, it's like this big, and he's just fucking around for fun, and it looks amazing. And I'm just like,
crazy,
carrying this fucking Bolex around New York City and VX and batteries and the belt pack and like.
You need a GoPro 9, dude.
Yeah, the GoPro 9. The GoPro has a little 360 thing too. I mean, I just look at stuff like Chris Ray, what he's doing, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty. He just carries a stick and a little box that films.
That's what I think that Calvin guy's doing. Yeah, same.
Do you see any HD cameras that you like people like using out there? It's
really, I don't even know what, I think I can tell in HVX when I see it in a lot of scenarios, but it all comes down to the filmer, right? Really. Yeah. I've seen, there's a video that came out last year called Finta out of Croatia, of all places.
Whoa.
And it's, the dude's cameras, it doesn't matter. Like you can tell he's using just like shitty, shitty mini DV camera. Like some of it, maybe he's using that Geo. I don't know what he's using, but it's old and not great. And there's scratches on the lens, but he does, it was my favorite video of the year just because it was just so unique and so entertaining. He has all these, it's very Spirit Quest like, with like weird little vignettes and skits, and it's just fun. And it's like at first, when I first popped it in, because I was like, I went to they have this independent film festival in Croatia that they've been doing forever, and actually probably I think this would have been the 10th year, and this guy Nikola runs it. That whole crew is the best. It was this tiny skate scene in Croatia. And it's an independent film festival, and they were like invited me year after year, and I was always like in the middle of something. And last 2 years ago, my girlfriend and I finally went, and it was so fucking awesome. Like just the town is amazing. It's basically, they call it the poor man's Italy, basically, because it's on the same, the opposing coast, and very similar climate, but it's not like a tourist trap. Sure. And anyways, this Finta video is what premiered at the last year's God, I can't believe I can't think of the name of the film festival, but because I want to give them credit, but anyways, the video
it'll come to you tonight when you're sleeping.
Yeah. Well, it's usually when I'm like in the shower, you're doing something, you brushing your teeth,
you're cooking dinner, you're like, God damn it, that was in there.
Yeah. But I bought the videos like sight unseen, basically, because Nicola, who does the film festival, he's like, dude, you got to see this video. It's so unique. And then I hit him. I was like, hey, we'll buy, I think like 25 copies, like definitely want to carry it on the site. And then when I popped it, I've done that a few times where I buy something blind, and then I pop it in and I'm like, all right, at least we're supporting, so I popped his video in, and the quality at first, you could tell he was using, some different kind of crappy cameras. But then you'll see, if whoever goes and watches it after this, you'll see why. Because he does all kinds of crazy shit where he does an angle from inside a shoe. I don't know how he does it, from the hole of a shoe. Like where your big toes going through the hole of your shoe.
Oh, what?
He somehow gives you he created like a fake little miniature camera. So you were like, what is this view I'm seeing? And you can see the edge of like this, and then it pulls back, and then he cuts to him pulling this little tiny camera out of a shoe. Just like weird stuff like that. Super inventive. Okay. But my point was, when I put it in, the quality, I was like, oh no, this might be bad. And then it's like, dude, it doesn't, this is awesome.
Amazing.
Like, and that's how I feel about HD. Like there's people who like make HD look like a VX in the sense, where they're just really good at it and keep it moving. Cause the HD thing, it slows down motion. The aspect ratio, in my opinion, it's a wider screen.
Yes.
It seems to slow down motion, and the action doesn't feel as like in your face or exciting. But there are filmers who, Jason Hernandez was really good with the HVX, with the fisheye.
That's just what I was saying before. It's like, it's just, I'm on the fence, right? It's like VX. It depends who's behind the camera.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. It's just totally, but I agree though, because it's such a wide field of, you're using 16:9, and sometimes like the skater's this big, but they're trying to get this flower over here too. And like, you're just like, well, take your pick, man. It's the flower, is it the skate? Because in your face is what I love.
Of course.
I love in your face skateboarding.
Yeah.
That's what I love with the VX. They get in there, it's in your face.
And it's tough because I think my generation, obviously, is everything you fell in love with skate video wise was VX, basically.
Yeah.
So
again, sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, God, I wish that was in HD. Like I'm glad the Baker video is in HD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I want to see these guys now in 2020 the way that it is. You know,
It's time.
like
Yeah,
Same
what's the
vibe.
time.
It's
Yeah.
the
Same vibe, but
yeah.
just clearer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see who it is.
Well, there's some film that the thing too, like that to me, the HVX is so cumbersome. You know, there's plenty of other or HD cameras, but that's just the one that I have aside from the VX, and it was kind of the most popular for a while. But then I've seen like there's a line that Grant Yansura filmed of oh my god, for some weekend thing.
Tom Karangalov.
It was actually it hasn't come out yet. I was at a spot. No, I was at a spot in Connecticut, and Trevor Thompson was like, Grant filmed, and he showed me like what this dude did and how Grant filmed it. And it's a spot where there's these scary ramps that go down, 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 and down. And Grant stayed. He stayed in front of him that whole line. And like I was scared just rolling down it, literally, like rolling down the last part because you can't see people coming and the ground's all fucked up. And but somebody like that who's can still use a HD camera like a VX, and is willing to be that risky with it, or essentially, like I'm sure that line's gonna look incredible when it comes out. If it did.
Grant's a great filmer, man.
Yeah.
Where is that like button? Right? Is it right here or right here?
Just a little scroll coming down the bottom.
It's
Subscribe.
over to it's on your
It's on my
left.
right? It's on
No,
my
on your
left.
left.
Hey,
Yeah.
hit that
there.
button right there.
Right there.
Right
Yeah,
there.
please.
The like button's kind of like in the middle there. It's like we're kind of.
Oh, it's like
there.
right here?
Kind of.
Like right
The
there?
subscribe's like over to the left.
Like right over there. All right.